Congressman Adam Kinzinger joins me now. He's a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, served in Iraq and Afghanistan in the Air Force, and I don't think his mosque covered, but you voted for it. What happened with that? You know,
well,
don't you have concerns? I mean, you heard Rand Paul. He's probably going to run for president if he's not already running for president. What about the fact that we get involved in these civil wars and then we see the blowback and the equipment we provided to the Iraqi army is now being used by ISIS against us in Iraq?
Well, the one person I'm not going to take my foreign policy advice from is Rand Paul. I mean, he's put out budgets to cut the military in half, so I'm not going to listen too much to what he has to say on foreign policy. But I will say this isn't a perfect strategy. I think the president needs to be more aggressive and needs to be talking about it more aggressively, including robust airstrikes in Syria. Robust airstrikes will pin down ISIS and prevent them their freedom of movement that they've enjoyed to this point. It'll prevent them from attacking new territory. And look, the Free Syrian Army has been beleaguered. They've been fighting on multiple fronts, both the evil Assad regime as well as ISIS. And so this is the beginning of a process. If the president says no boots on the ground, well, you have to have some people that can occupy territory and take it away from ISIS, and the Free Syrian Army is the option here. So, again, I think he needs to be more aggressive, but I think this is a good first step, and hopefully we'll see when the air campaign in Syria begins that it's actually pretty massive.
Congressman, James Clapper, the General Clapper, of course, in charge of all the intelligence agencies, the Director of National Intelligence, said some astonishing things, I thought, to David Ignatius in the Washington Post today, because he said that there is an intelligence question. How do you... He said what we didn't do in Vietnam was predict the will to fight, or in Iraq. That's always been a problem. We didn't do it in Vietnam. In this case, we underestimated ISIL, or ISIS, as we say, and overestimated the fighting capability of the Iraqi army. I didn't see the collapse of the Iraqi security force in the north coming. It boils down to predicting the will to fight, which is an imponderable. Now, I should point out here, you probably know this as well, Jim Clapper started his career in intelligence in Vietnam, working for his dad, who was in charge of all intelligence for our armies and military in Vietnam. It was an extraordinary father-son team there. And this is a pretty honest evaluation.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, there's no way I'm going to stand up here and say this is a great, perfect strategy. It's flawed. This is again, short of 200,000 American troops, which nobody really wants, and the president doesn't want to do. You have many flawed options, and that includes having to rely on the Iraqi military. Part of it is the leadership of the Iraqi military, which had been very secularized or put in, I guess, Shia and lost the trust of the Sunnis. The leadership melted away when the combat began, so rank and file melted away, as would happen with any military when leadership melts away. They also didn't have close air support. Close air support is a very important part of any modern-day military. When we got engaged in Iraq or Afghanistan, our guys would call for air support immediately to kill the enemy so that they could advance forward. So I think, look, this is going to take a lot of time. It's not going to be a microwave war. We're not going to have it done in 30 seconds or 30 days. But this is the beginning of fighting back. We saw what happened in Australia. That's coming here. If we don't think it is, I think we could shockingly be surprised. So, look, we have to take them on, and hopefully the president has a strong strategy and he can bring the American people with him.
Well, let's point out what happened in Australia was that a radical who had lived in Australia had apparently organized, now is working for ISIS, and had organized a threat that was thwarted. And the Australians say that the threat from ISIS was to grab people from the streets and behead them and make videos.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredibly shocking and scary, yet at the same time, you saw the Washington Post today reporting on the front page that the military, as we've been reporting all week, starting with the, General Dempsey, that the military and the president are not on the same page. The military wants a more aggressive posture than does the president.
Yeah, I agree. I think we need a more aggressive posture, and I think the president's been wrong to rule out boots on the ground. In essence, he's put two red lines. We have to destroy ISIS, unless that involves boots on the ground, in which case boots on the ground is way worse than the existence of ISIS. Again, I don't think we need 100,000 American troops, but what if there's an area we need to clear out and 1,000 or 2,000 airborne rangers or rangers in general could go clear that out? He's taken that option off the table, so I do think this has got to be aggressive. And look, the president's going to come to that realization when he realizes that we've got to push these guys out of Syria, out of Iraq. I think he'll get there. He's not there yet, but, I'll be optimistic that he will someday.
Okay, thank you so much, Congressman Kinzinger.